Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. We are jamming out, that's right, down on the res, but it's not the res behind us, but we're lucky enough to be in the same area. Pete Ponds is here. He's one of the local pros down here in Mississippi. And I tell you what, I'm excited to be here. Lots of questions for you. We're longtime friends.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about being down here and at the res, I guess.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing I can say about Ross Barnett is it's hot and it's shallow.
Hot and shallow.
Yeah, a lot of stumps, a lot of vegetation.
Right.
This time of the year, those fish seem to get out on those flats and stuff and start schooling, and that's a pretty neat,
right.
It's a unique place. There's not many places like it,
Give us a little history. Have you always lived here in Mississippi?
My dad was in the Air Force and moved here.
Right.
Bob Ponds is his name, and he moved here out of the Air Force because it was a brand new reservoir.
Right.
Back then, they were building brand new reservoirs. I was in the 50s, 60s, I bet
right.
60s. I'd say mid-60s, just guessing. So that was quite a while ago, and at that time, you could just pull out there and catch fish anywhere. I mean,
wow.
It was just incredible. Matter of fact, it was ranked up there in the top 100 bass lakes in the United States, and I want to say it was top 10, but I'm not sure. A lot of history with BASS, FLW right. here. A lot of tournament fishing has gone on this lake.
Yeah, and in fact, the reservoir, it has the Madison landings kind of set up from yeah. that, right, from those bigger events, and so that evolved into a nicer facility, didn't it?
Absolutely. The Madison Landing is probably one of the best in the area. It has plenty of room for docking and launching and plenty of room for tournaments. A couple of good restaurants right there, right at the ramp too. Right. So it's a unique place.
The only thing you have to do is watch out when you're walking.
Yeah.
Around that boat ramp because there's a lot of geese.
Yeah.
If you load real early in the morning,
yeah.
it's probably a good idea to have a flashlight.
That's right. Don't think that there's a almost extinct goose population because there are plenty here. Those right. Canadian geese is what we're talking about.
Yeah. That's right. There's plenty of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some fond memories of Ross Barnett, don't you?
Yeah, I've had a few good tournaments.
Where's that at? I'm surprised you didn't bring it out and bring your trophy out.
Yeah, no. I remember one of the, you're talking about history. My dad said, Pete, he used to fish professionally. He actually fished the first BASSMaster Classic there was.
Wow.
And he said, Pete, you got to fish one of these national tournaments, And I said, well, okay, And I had fished club tournaments and around, and
right.
And so they came to town, and I had to fish. It was the BASS Opens, and you had to fish 3 of them. And the first one was Arkansas River.
Right.
And I don't think I did that great. I did okay at Arkansas River. I think Mike McClellan won that tournament.
Wow.
And they came to Ross Barnett.
Right.
And I led that tournament for 2 days. And it was a 3-day tournament. And the last day, guess who ended up beating me?
Mike
McClellan. I think Stan Grazzini was second, and I was third in that tournament.
Right.
But I remember being on the stage, and Ray Scott he whispered in my ear, how he was. And he said, Pete, we did this whole dadgum show on you, and you didn't win. I said, well, I can't help it, Ray. That's just the way it is. But he made, he kind of picked at me, but I was happy. And, that's kind of what got me hooked into fishing. I mean, into tournament fishing. I'd paid, at that time, it was a $600 entry fee.
Right.
I'd won a Ranger boat on 3rd place and also some money, additional money as well.
Wow.
And now, whenever, times have changed. We're paying $5,000 entry fees now.
Right.
We do win $100,000, but 3rd place is probably not much more than it was back then.
Yeah.
For the same deal, but a lot less entry fee.
You did win an Open, though.
I did. I won an Open on Eufaula in Alabama.
Right.
I remember that tournament well too. I've had several close finishes and top finishes, and it's just been a great journey for me. I really do love bass fishing and tournament fishing as well.
You know, I would have had to bring a whole great big sheet of paper for all those tournaments that you fished in.
Yeah.
But
I know, I fished a lot of them.
yeah, you fished in the Bassmaster Classic then.
I have, yeah.
I feel like I'm your pimp. I'm like,
You're having to drag it out of me. You know, when you get a little older, you start,
only a few people have actually fished in the Bassmaster Classic. When you start looking at it, because there's a lot of people that repeat year after year after year, and you don't get as many. Like usually the ones that come are from the All American or some some venture like that.
Yeah.
To get it there from an open is that's people really respect that.
Yeah, well, honestly, Brad, I made it there through the Federation.
Oh, all right.
So we were fishing. We fished a local club.
Right.
You know, the odds are stacked against you when you do that. And then we fished in, I want to say down on the coast of Mississippi, and then we went up to South Dakota and fished.
Oh, really?
And then
Yankton?
No, I think it was Yankton.
It was Yankton? And
Yeah.
did you fish that like in 19?
Don't even make me lie, son. It's been so long ago.
19, like it would be like 20 years ago. 2001. 2001.
Yeah. That's
I was there.
Were you really?
I believe. I fished that on the Arkansas team, and one of my teammates you might have heard of was a kid that turned out to catch a fish or two, Greg Hackney. Was on
I think
our
I've
team.
heard of him. I'm not sure.
How's that? I throw that out there. And someone else who was on that team I was with was Keith Brashears.
Really?
When he of course owned War Eagle spinner baits, and so we had.
He was there because I remember he came out and started giving out spinner baits at the hotel and stuff.
He was making them in the parking lot.
That's right.
I still have one. I kept one that he made.
That's crazy.
So that was a long time ago.
You know, and I've got a real good friend up there named Jamie Fralick, and Jamie fished the elites with me. You know, for years.
So that's how you made it into the Classic then.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was that was a long shot, but I still remember catching those. Actually the fish down at Pascagoula.
Right.
I was right there by that bridge. I don't remember the name of the highway. I think it was a 10, but I'm not sure.
Right.
And I remember flipping up there and catching the fish that I needed to make it.
Wow.
And it was time to come in. It was right, 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left. And we were, cars going down like this, and I pitched that jig up there and set the hook, and it was probably 2.5, 3 pound fish. And down there, that's a huge fish.
Right.
So that was an exciting deal for me. I remember that. And, Clark's Hill, had a really good finish on Clark's Hill. You just forget. You've been doing this so long, but it all starts coming back, and it's a lot of fun. But I know we want to talk about Ross Barnett, right?
Well, it got sprinkled in there a little bit.
Yeah.
If someone was to come down here, what's one tip that you could give them, whether they be a high school, college, or a weekend warrior, or even a pro? You don't want to give too many of your secrets away, but what's one secret, one tip you would give to those young anglers coming to Ross Barnett that would keep them, eliminate some water for them?
Well, on Ross Barnett, generally, the bigger fish, if you're going after the bigger fish, you're fishing for more loner type fish, okay?
Right.
This lake is notorious for this time of the year, which we're in September right now.
Yep.
When it gets hot, I'm talking about in the middle part of the day, sweat dripping off your elbows, you can't breathe. The fish surface. They come up and surface. And that's what I was raised on here. And schooling fish have a couple of different avenues. We have what I call gypsy schools.
Yeah.
Gypsy schools roam around and they chase the shad that they find. You might catch them in 100 feet of water. You might catch them in 8 feet of water. You just don't know. Ross Barnett's different because it's set up and it has stumps underneath the water on ledges. And when I say ledges, I'm talking about a ledge that's, say, 3 feet dropping off to 6 feet.
Okay.
Unlike most lakes where a ledge is 8 feet dropping off to 30 feet or 20 feet. On Barnett, they don't tend to get that deep. Now, sometimes they do, but I believe what those fish do is they sit down there and they have a place where they can, ambush bait fish. And the bait fish, as the water warms up and heats up, they gather and get towards the top. And they just kind of push themselves around, and then when they get over those areas where those fish are sitting there to ambush, they just come up and start exploding on them. And that happens, and those fish will stay up for probably, this time of the year, they don't stay up 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you know.
Right.
So you got to be ready. It's almost like hunting more than fishing, because you have to be ready to throw. When you throw it a foot past them and reel up to them, let it fall, usually they'll take it, or throw a topwater lure over it, twitch it, you know, they'll take it. But they do it in exactly the same place year after year after year after year, unlike the gypsy bass, which move around, you know. I've got places that I've been catching them on Ross Barnett for 15 to 20, 30 years, you know, in the same areas. So it's a unique place.
Yeah, tell us what lures you're going to use to fish.
You know, this time of year, I like a flat-sided crankbait. I like a topwater. Usually if I want to match the size, the shad with the size lure, you know.
Right.
A topwater would be like a popar.
Right.
What is the magic? I can't remember the name of the magic. It says, shoot.
I don't know for sure.
So anyway, it's a little something.
Another
magic.
popper.
Yes, another little popper, like popper, but it has a little bit of different action to it, and it works.
Right.
I think you guys will know about it. It's a pretty popular lure. They cost $13-14 a piece. So.
Right.
And then as time goes on, you know, when those fish start schooling, after they go down, you can take a wacky rig Cinco on a Hayabusa 202 hook, and I love that hook. I'm not, you know,
a 5-inch Cinco.
Yeah, 5-inch Cinco. Throw it out there and just let it fall, and then shake it a little bit, and usually they'll get it. And a lot of times you catch a bigger fish on you know, the deeper part when they're not jumping.
No weight on that. Just
no weight.
Basically throwing it out.
That's right. Yeah.
And that hook you're talking about, what's the style of hook that is? Is it a wide gap? What is?
No, it's a little. It's not a circle hook, but it's similar to a circle hook.
Like an octopus hook.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a neat little hook, and it's got a. The 202 has a unique guide tie on it. You know, will keep you the hook, the worm from sliding down. But actually, when you hook that on there, it's almost reversed. It keeps it from sliding up. Any of the guys that have been throwing a wacky rig a lot know sometimes the tail of that Cinco will come around and stick on the point of the hook. And this pretty much eliminates. It doesn't all, you know, sometimes it does happen, but it certainly doesn't happen as much, you know, as it does on a regular hook.
Yeah. So, is there any other, you're talking soft plastic, any other Yamamoto baits?
Well, I mean, I love all those.
How about that Zacco?
Zacco is a good bait. Yeah, they just made a smaller size, and it's really been a pretty.
Is that going to be a good?
Yeah,
is that going to be a good schooler?
It's an awesome trailer for chatterbait, and then it's a lot of them. The paddle tail one is really good by itself. I've caught a lot of fish already on that. You know, so but you know, one of the little secrets that I like, you know, on the Cinco is when I want to catch larger fish, I'll change to the 6-inch Cinco. I'll just use a little bit bigger one, you know. Yep. But it's a great bait. You know, you also catch those fish on Carolina rig. Catch them on a lot of different things on Ross Barnett. You know, frog. My goodness, I've caught so many. You know, that's if you're going after a big fish, a frog and a spook, and back in the shallow waters, back in the Oxbow lakes, really good areas.
Well, let's talk. I know that the front of your boat has an all-board marine. Kind of, it's a transducer, so it holds your transducer. It's kind of like an extra support that goes down there, and it allows it to revolve individually of the trolling motor. Yeah, itself.
I mean, this product is buddy of mine. I was going to buy one from him. I actually bought one. And then we became good friends, and the guy's name is David Hahn, and it's allboardmarine.com. But that product really is a game changer for me. Whenever I'm out there and there's a little bit of wind, I've got a spot lock. And most time, you know, when you have your boat on spot lock, you can't turn it.
Right.
This product, I have a totally different pole that's holding this.
Right.
And so I can lock my boat on spot lock, and I can still, with my foot, turn that transducer and look at any direction I want to look. So it's a really a tool that's very necessary whenever it's a little bit of wind. In today's world, I mean, you have to be up on that kind of stuff. and it's been a product that's really caught me.
How
some
long have
fish.
you had that on your boat?
Exactly 1 year.
1 year.
Matter
So
of
you
fact,
went. My question is, you went up north to those smallmouths, and
Yep.
the wind was blowing you around. Of course, everyone has
Sure.
always seen the big, big 3 foot, and
That's
4
right.
foot, and those rollers.
Like Champlain is a good,
Champlain.
that's a good reference. And at Champlain, that product right there it caused me to help me catch some fish. I mean,
Right.
because I had that on my boat, I could lock my boat, spot lock it, and then look around and then see the smallmouth and actually cast over there to him. Game changer. It really
There you
is,
go.
man. I'm telling you.
You had to drop. Everyone always has to drop that in once.
I mean,
And
it is,
every
yeah.
podcast. I was going to call my my podcast show
Game
the
changer.
Game Changer, but then no one would know what I was talking about
Right.
if I did that. So,
Right.
but anyway,
But
so
I can't say, and hopefully you're gonna get a chance to get David on the show and,
Right.
and all that
Yep.
one day, but the product is just honestly overbuilt. I mean, it's strong. If it can hold up to me, and he's kind of used me as his tester, you
right.
know.
Nothing better than to have a pro test your
dude, I'm
stuff,
telling you,
because
and he
if
said-
it's going to break,
Yeah.
you guys will break it.
I mean, what I put that thing through, I mean, the average person wouldn't put it through in 10 years, and I could do that in a month, because
Right.
we fished, from daylight till dark,
That's
that.
right.
And,
Yep.
and it's constant beating and pounding, and we put a lot of hours on our equipment.
Yeah, you guys do beat it up. Not to beat it up hard, but that's how it happens.
No, it's just use,
Yep.
just use.
So what else can you tell me about down here at the res? You've lived here all your life. How about just around the lake itself? It's changed some, hasn't it, or
Oh,
has
my
it not?
goodness.
Pearl River authorities, who's in charge of that, right? So
Yes.
is it private property from their house, their lot to the water, or do Pearl River owns the property?
I think they
That
have a
counts.
lease. I think
They have
it's
a
a
lease.
lease.
Yep.
Yeah, and,
All right.
and it's and I'm just guessing probably 100-year
Is-
lease and something. So if you buy property, you sign a
Do-
100-year lease on it.
Is there a lot of homes around the lake itself?
Not right on the lake. There
all
is
right.
when you get down to Pelahatchie Bay, and some sections of it are very developed. Now they are starting to develop. It's a great time to look around Ross Barnett because there's so much new development going on the water.
Right.
It's going to be good. A lot of folks.
That's
So,
right. Good stuff, and the lake's really fired up too. You
Yeah.
got some water that came in, got a little high, so you got nutrients that came in.
That's
so
right.
you guys are sitting pretty good, I
Yeah,
think.
it's a great fishery. I mean, it's been a wonderful fishery. People everybody nicknamed their home lake Dead Sea,
Right.
but I promise you can go out there and catch them. And dog days of summer, average day, right now 30 to 60 fish a day.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of fish.
Yeah, now not all of them are big ones,
Right.
but you're either fishing for big ones or you're fishing for small ones. Mostly on Barnett,
Right.
they don't hang out in the same places like I was saying earlier.
All
And I'm not saying you can't catch one,
right.
but
The
generally,
majority. Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
All right. Well, that sounds good. That takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits. They also sponsor me petting the dog today. So, but anyway, you can check it out. They have everything you can imagine. You can catch walleyes or crappie, catfish. If you're trolling PICO crankbaits that are pink, you're going to catch some of them. But all the game fish, bass, you can catch them on those. You check them out at PicoLures.com. Pete, if they wanted to check out more about you, what social media and where
you
can they
look me
find
up,
you?
Pete Ponds Fishing on Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
I would appreciate all the likes and follows you can get me because
All right.
today's world, that's pretty much what it's about.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. Sounds good. Well, that's going to wrap it up. And like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.
Thank you, Brad.